Welcome to Cardano Over Coffee. Today we have W3Ride, who's trying to build the future of cycling on Web3 with a gamified ride to earn experience. Join our hosts, Hero Pool, Jenny from the Blockchain, Lido Pool, Epoch Pool, TCT, CookTime, and BlockChalk as we talk with Jonathan from W3Ride. Grab some coffee and let's get right into it.
It's Tuesday, right? I don't know where you're at in the world.
Texas.
But okay, so it's pretty early in Texas still. What kind of coffee are you drinking?
I am drinking this is a breakfast blend from West Texas. I live up in the Panhandle in the desert. It has a little bit of like a nice almond taste to it. It's pretty good. What about you?
I'm actually drinking Cardano Over Coffee. That's our own brand of coffee.
Good answer. Gotta stay on brand.
So, yeah.
I need to pick up some of that.
Use our link tree, and there is a link which you can either pay in ADA or you can pay in the US dollar. I would suggest the US dollar because ADA's price is real low, and I don't want to see you pay $8,000-9,000 for a bag of coffee when ADA's $32.
Yeah. Although it's a good story.
Yeah, absolutely. I have bought it with ADA, so I could possibly have that story in the future. So
I've minted some pretty awful projects, so it wouldn't be the only thing that's on my conscience.
Right. At least I got a physical product, right? I mean, I've so I can't really say
the best roadmap on Cardano is just delivering coffee.
Right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into crypto, how you got to Cardano, and then
sure.
Maybe we'll talk
and I have to apologize. Thomas, one of the creative directors of W3Ride, he has the flu, so he's not going to be able to join. He's amazing. Everyone should definitely check out his art. He does so much more than just the beautiful bikes and riders. I mean, he's like Hollywood level AAA game quality. I think his Twitter and his Instagram both have examples of his work. So he won't be here. Maybe he can make another time in the future. But I'm Jonathan Looney. I am a product manager for W3Ride, kind of overseeing all the different aspects, trying to help build it in a direction for mainstream adoption. But I got into this whole space several years ago. I've always been a fan of crypto, and Cardano kind of got me interested when I watched that first whiteboard by Charles. That's when I really understood why Ethereum wasn't the option. I was tired of paying gas fees, tired of the MetaMask experience. And I just kind of slowly, my first NFT project, I skipped over Space Buds. I didn't like the art. That was probably a mistake. But my first was Dead Pixels and Drunken Dragons. I thought those were two really interesting projects. And then I just kind of kept diving deeper and deeper. My job, my full-time job, I do other more enterprise blockchain development on other chains. But slowly, Cardano became my favorite.
Whoa. You can't let that slide. What other chains? I need to know that too.
Well, so without getting too detailed, I've been building a supply chain for midstream gas companies. Being in Texas, there's a lot of gas companies, and the current system for payments, the data sharing, there's a lot of things that blockchain can help smooth out in a trustless environment. So we were working on Algorand and Polygon to build kind of a proof of concept. Sadly, we needed a stable coin, and so Cardano wasn't an option at the time. And that's kind of where we're at.
I'm no maxi, right? As much as I love Cardano, if you bring adoption through Algorand and Polygon, ever, I'm great with that.
That's how I feel about W3Ride too. So we have the W3 in there because we're not. At the end of the day, we love the ethos of Web3, but it doesn't really matter to the end user, even they couldn't even identify what chains they're on. So we're going to be doing a Polygon bridge, so people who want to use Polygon can take their NFTs to Polygon. They can get paid in Polygon coins. It's all one ecosystem, but Cardano we see as the home base for it.
Yeah, so why don't we talk a little bit about, obviously you ride bikes, right? So that somewhere in there.
Ironically, my bike riding has gone up, but ironically, I probably do the least amount because I'm so busy working on it. But everyone else on the team are very hardcore bikers. Niels and Thomas and Mark, they do hundreds of miles a week. My wife actually is kind of my guinea pig. She rides every day and gives me feedback on the app. I'm trying to ride every day. It's just hard.
Yeah, totally understanding. Tell me, what is WeRide, and then tell me why blockchain.
Sure. So WeRide is, it's a cycling engagement app. At the end of the day, it's a community that's reward driven, and our goal is just to celebrate biking. What we found in the space is that there's so many different ways to ride. A lot of it's catered towards the Strava min-maxers, that love doing 200, miles a week or something very stats driven. They're worried about their heart rate and the elevation and all that. We love that. We want to support that, but I don't ride like that. And I think the majority of the world rides because it's just a great way to get around town and to stay healthy, and it's better on your knees than running. And I think there's so many ways of biking beyond just the extreme athlete, and no one's really catering to that. And so what we're doing is we're integrating with Strava and Zwift and Apple Fitness wearables and just the complete ecosystem of data for provable bike rides. And we're collecting that and celebrating that. And the first step is, can we read all that data and give you crypto, tokens or NFTs from that? The next step is to continue building that community through gamification and challenges and social functions. And if we can kind of become this magnet, this kind of this larger community, then we can start commanding, presences of brands. But instead of just collecting all the wealth at the top, our goal is to keep the Web3 ethos in there. And how can we give that value back to the individuals? And I think that's where crypto really comes in. There's plenty of other reward programs and loyalty programs out there. Credit card points have existed, airline miles have existed forever. But where I think this is really interesting is we are building this as a community mindset. We're not trying to, get rich off of everyone else. If we get this massive brand engagement, I'd love to be able to give massive discounts and all these cool products for people that use our system. And so that's the Web3 ethos, I think.
Now you're talking about bringing crypto in, right? So obviously I'm thinking that you're going to reward people for riding. Is that like in different incentives? What are you going to be giving them? You mentioned crypto. Are you talking about tokens?
I should back up, and I'm a little too deep in the sauce. Yes, Cycler is our token, and that is the airline mile. That is the credit card point that every ride will get you. And so right now our system is free for anyone to use. And so you don't even have to have an NFT. You just need a bike and some kind of way of tracking your distance. And we will generate tokens for you. That's the only way to actually get power and to get the tokens in the system. And from that, we have a marketplace where you can buy Amazon gift cards, you can buy NFTs, which will increase your earning rate. And so now if you buy a cool bike NFT, you can earn more points, and that gets you access to discounts in our store. And we're about to have, in the next week or so, we're going to have physical items to purchase. So biking jerseys or, cool merch. We have some really, really exciting partnerships with big brands that we're about to announce that sadly I can't um, break just yet, but that's going to be, ways for you to get cool biking gear or just
What if
cool.
I offered to bribe you with some husky?
Yeah, you could bribe me with some cycler. That'd be cool.
I have there's like my brother has a friend that has a hotel in New York that apparently you can pay for your stay, part of your stay, by exercising. You have like cycling things, and
Oh, that's cool.
you have to, you have to like do a certain amount of biking in the hotel to pay for your stay. It's pretty cool.
They should talk. They should talk to us. We would love to be able
Yeah,
to pay with cycling.
I'll ask a contact and see, because that sounds like a good mix and like a good like little collab there.
And that's the goal. Is that, so many people have reward programs based on, consumerism, like buying things, for their own selfish benefit. We really just want to celebrate biking. And right now, there's not a community that unifies that. People in Peloton are on Peloton, but they don't really talk to the people on Strava or Zwift. And Zwift has a great community. RGT has a good community, but they're not breaking through to the commuters or just the daily people. And so our goal is to be very kind of lighthearted and fun and approachable for everyone, and then have Web3 kind of enable that all in the background, because normal reward programs wouldn't be able to support the kind of value that we're going to bring to everyone in the community.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the team, like who's all involved? And
Sure. Yeah,
I got one kind of, like, if you can add this into your answer somewhere. With being involved with crypto, there's a lot of regulation questions, right? So you're offering a crypto or a token to be able to use into a store to buy a physical product, which is great. Love that. However, is there any regulation issue in that? And if you could tie that into, like, maybe after the team talk or something.
yeah, it's definitely it's a very fine line. There's a lot of semantics involved, and most of it is just trying to balance the, attention of Apple, which is one of the greediest uh, tech companies out there. But to
Give me a
rewind and talk about the
30%,
team.
Jonathan. I want my
Yeah,
30%.
I know, it's insane. But to talk about the team real quick, so we're a mix. We are a pretty large team now. We have the Nexus Cognitive team on one side, and that's the development game studio that's working on it. We are, and that's where I'm a part of. And we have a strategic partnership. It's not a client relationship. We're actually kind of embedded, and it's a joint venture, and we're the ones doing the technology, the kind of product strategy and the execution, tokenization, all that kind of stuff. But the WeRide team, the original founders, Thomas and Romain, they have created this very strong team of advisors. We have some great business, advisors from various backgrounds. We have several pro riders. We have so Thomas Wagner is he's our CEO for WeRide. He has a huge connection with many major racing clubs and pro cyclists. We have game designers like Dr. Frank. I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm just going to call him Dr. Frank. He is a German game designer. It's amazing to work with him. He's helping us give reason to use the app and drive the motivation to keep biking and celebrating biking. And so those features are going to be coming out in the next month or so. Really excited by that. He's worked on projects like uh, uh, several like Warhammer games, Commandos. Uh, there's a samurai game that's like a top-down strategy that I'm forgetting, but he's worked on a bunch of different AAA games, and so I'm really excited to have his perspective on this. Our goal, the way we've been describing this, is kind of like Pokemon Go meets, you know, Strava and Web3, and so we really want to drive more local events and local engagement for how you ride your bike. And so, really excited to have him on there. We have Niels in marketing, and he has a marketing team that's helping run Discord. Um, yeah,
So
really, really,
overall,
really.
pretty well rounded. On the blockchain side, who's working on that?
So that's Nexus Cognitive. We're a Web3 agency. We're actually a global tech firm that runs, you know, all sorts of data architecture programs. We do machine learning. We do, uh, larger enterprise clients. But we do have a Web3 division, and so we have several very senior developers that are working on smart contracts. We're doing back end work um, just for the app development. And we have a really great leadership team. You know, they've worked in consulting, they've worked in IBM. Our CEO was a part of the Watson team, and he has a really rich network. And so, really, really perfect balance to execute and build this app. We've been trying to do 2-week build kind of cycles where every 2 weeks we push out updates, and it's been a great project.
Question came in from the crowd. I'd like to take credit for it, but I was going to ask similar to it, but I'll just read their question.
Sure.
Have you heard of a project called Steppen?
Yes, and so it actually one of the first things that we talked about with Thomas and their brothers, Thomas and Roman, is they wanted to build this. They had this great art, and they wanted to build something that was engaging, and they started using Steppen as kind of the inspiration, and they came to us to kind of identify the tokenomics, the strategy, all those things, and we talked to them, and in our research we found that Steppen is actually one step away from a Ponzi scheme, if not just outright a Ponzi scheme. And so our goal was to avoid that effect. You know, we don't think Steppen is going to be a engaging game for the mainstream. I think right now it proved to be a very gate kept, app. You had to buy more NFTs. You had to kind of play the game. There's people who have spent thousands of dollars to get to this place, and they're still not really. It's not fun. They're kind of more. It's built for cashing out, and we never wanted that. We don't want your experience to be cashing out on Cycler. We see Cycler as something that feeds our ecosystem, but at the end of the day, we want you in the app and having fun. It needs to be approachable for everyone. I want my dad to download this and start using blockchain and start using the idea of digital assets and NFTs without really understanding it, but then understanding that this bike is something special. It's not just a game item. I can give this bike to a friend. I can sell this bike when I'm done. It's not gate kept. We want something more approachable like that. I think Steppen is really just the old model, like Axie Infinity, where the moment people stop coming to it, it crashes.
Yeah, I think this was kind of part of that question also. How do you plan to counteract selling pressure, people earning and dumping the tokens?
So our system is, there's a finite amount of Cycler available because we have technically when you ride, you earn an off-chain token, and you can only create that by riding. And when you convert think about it like Candy Crush or some of these other games where you have like your gold, but then you have your gems. Cycler is the gems that enables you to really purchase, NFTs and merch. But the way we're approaching this is we are kind of balancing the conversion rate and treating it essentially like a credit card point. We're not really paying attention to the secondary market too much because we're balancing everything in app in our ecosystem. And so really the best example would be Sweatcoin. If you're familiar with Sweatcoin, they have a much better, more self-sustaining model that is fed on value of brand partnerships, value on gamification. It's not valued on people buying NFTs and growing that way.
Lido, and then I have one other question from the crowd.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to double down on the tokenomics. So if it's not geared towards cashing out, why not have an unlimited supply and burn the token when it's spent and just keep creating more?
Well, so the main thing is we want there to be some importance to Cycler. And I think the way we have a very large supply. We have 9 billion across 3 chains. And so once we turn on the bridges, that will allow us to.
Wait. You said 9 million?
Billion.
Oh, billion. Okay.
And so there's a lot. I mean, right now our goal is to have Cycler be kind of rare. I mean, when you're spending, the idea is power is going to have the game and power the overall game experience, and then Cycler is going to be the purchase event. So you kind of have to make a decision: do I spend it with power, or do I spend it with Cycler? And so as time goes on, we're actually going to be increasing the conversion rate. So it's very similar to like Bitcoin in the sense that the proof of work of your biking is going to get harder and harder to achieve, and so Cycler will be worth more. We started selling bikes for 500,000 Cycler, but now it's really over time in the next 5 years that difficulty is going to increase, especially as we get more adoption. And so we kind of want a finite amount. We think that's part of the excitement and way of driving value to that. We don't want it just to flood the market and have unlimited. There's 2 ways of doing it. We could have an unlimited model. We would have to change how we structure that. But I like the idea of having an in-game off-chain token that you can convert. From a regulatory standpoint, that creates less tax events. I don't know. There's a couple different ways of going about it.
That makes sense, and it sounds like you guys are really thinking through it, which is the important thing, right? I just whenever someone say it's not geared towards cashing out, one of the things that DGen looks at is supply caps and like stuff like
For
that.
sure.
Now,
Well,
of course, like Ethereum doesn't have a max, and it still got the attention of DGens. But yeah, it sounds like you're really thinking through it.
Well, that's good. One thing I really like, though. You raise a good point. We kind of want to have almost like a secondary game around it. So one thing that I've actually been considering is, a lot of our user base can't exactly go to MinSwap and buy coins, right? So they don't know how. Like my dad doesn't know how to go. He's using it, but he doesn't know how to go and buy on MinSwap. So one of the things I think makes this a even more interesting Web3 project over something like Sweatcoin or something more Web2 is how do we provide tools and games for the community, the DGen community, to actually drive economic balancing with the vast majority of users? Because if you think about it like World of Warcraft or some of these RPGs, there was always people playing the market on the auction house, right? And then that was a smaller subset of the vast majority that were playing. And so I think it would be interesting if we could provide unique tools to allow people to supply Cycler in app or to supply from the exchanges and create interesting economic games from that. That's definitely on our roadmap later down the line once we get larger mainstream.
I got one other follow-up question here from somebody in the crowd. Who funds or pegs the token to the US dollar amount? If the tokens are used to buy merch, the merch seller must sell those tokens for US dollar.
So we when someone sends us tokens, they purchase it in app. We deduct their balance and it's connected to our Shopify. Our Shopify handles all the logistics. And there's two things. There's people who can purchase something outright with Cycler, and we as a company eat that cost, much like credit card companies eat the cost when you buy, you know, a gift card or when you have some kind of event. Our revenue and our main sources of revenue are all driven based on gamification in the app, which hasn't been activated yet. At scale, having those kinds of NFT sales and item boosts, all those kinds of things like traditional mobile free-to-play games. And then the biggest, of course, is brand partnerships. So our system can be seen as we're building a community and a platform for engagement. And from that, we can drive, brand partnerships that give discounts on items. We may not be able to give it to you for completely on Cycler, but we could give you a 50% discount on a Garmin watch if you spend a certain amount of Cycler. So that's kind of where we see ourselves going. And we're already in talks with several large companies to give you guys access to merch for cheaper.
Excellent. And just kind of last question, or our time's almost up and we got to get to our second guest, but just tell me overall, I want to use the app. Where do I go? What do I need to do? Tell me a little bit about it.
Good call. Yeah, sorry, I gave you the quick and fast version, but we are live on Apple and Google. All you have to do is you download the W3Ride app, and from there, you can give it permissions to Apple Health, Google Fitness, and Strava, however you want to kind of report your experience. And then you just ride your bike like you would today, and it automatically gets detected by the system and you can start generating points. And then if you want to have an NFT to enhance those points, you can go in secondary JPEG store, or we're still minting.
Lido.
Just super quickly, one, where's the company register?
We are in Zug, Switzerland.
And then the second question, on the partnerships, who's eating the cost, the brand or you guys?
So it's kind of a mix. So right now, let's just use Garmin as an example. I'm not saying we're partnered with Garmin officially or anything, but let's just use Garmin as an example. They would give us, so they would treat us like a store, right? And they would give us a 40% discount at bulk ordering. So we would get watches, trackers, XYZ, and we would get 40% off. What we would do is then we wouldn't lose anything.
Wait, is that normal? The 40%? Do brands do that?
Yeah. Like, so Best Buy, when Best Buy sells, TVs and other things, they have a margin that they can play with when they order. And whatever their industry price margin, like some electronics are a little lower margin, but for physical merch, like clothing and stuff like that, the margin's a little higher. And so what we're doing is we're essentially giving it to you at cost when you purchase with Cycler, and you still have to pay some US dollar or crypto, something beyond, to give us some value, because the whole tokenomics has to be supported by actual cash locked, in the ecosystem. Otherwise, we're going to just run out of money if we give everything for free. So everything now is driven not based on selling the coin. It can't be based on dumping on the market and getting money from the coin. It has to be from outside sources to prop this up, much like credit card and airline miles are today.
Neat. Thanks. And thanks for indulging me, Hero. Well, I think that brings us to our time. Would definitely like you to come back on the show as you guys progress, because I'm sure there's a million more questions.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Sorry, this was a quick and fast version, but I'd love to come back and have, Thomas show off some of the cool things we're building. And by then we'll have some more exciting partnerships to talk about.
Yeah, always welcome to come back. Sign
Yes,
up.
please come back. I'm going to be researching more about your project. It seems pretty cool. I like it.
Good, good. Thank you. Yeah, any questions, feel free to join our Discord or tweet, of course.
My only thing is I don't ride much, but can I put it on my snowmobile right now and get mileage?
I mean, technically, you probably could fake it in a way. We have some anti-cheat measures, but I don't know. I mean, of course, everyone, you know, even Strava is dealing with that, but we have pretty good anti-cheat measures. I would say for you, our bike rental program is going to be the best. So we're giving DGens the opportunity to essentially use their extra NFTs, put them in the app, and get a percentage. So when we have mainstream, let's use my dad as an example. He comes in, he wants to get a cooler bike to earn more. He'll rent for $299 a month or something like dollars, and we will give you a percentage of the cycler he generates. So you can create like a mini business if you get the right people. So that to me is going to be the exciting degen move.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely come back at some point. However, before we get to our next guest, we have reached the middle of our show. And if you don't know, I got a letter from Celsius Network. Apparently they're in bankruptcy and they have my money. But the joke's on them because it's worth like way less than what it was when I gave it to them. So take your funds off in exchange because that's not cool to lose your money. And while you have it off the exchange, poor Darlington over there just had a child and he's poor and he needs somebody to stake to his stake full. Stake to his stake
I
full.
just added some ADA. I'm contributing here. I got you.
Oh man, I'm joking. He's not poor, but again, congratulations, Lido, on the birth of your child. I expect to see you around here a lot less. But let's get into the Lido Minute because it's been a minute.
This is your Lido Minute on Cardano over coffee. This week in Catalyst. Catalyst is on a pause for the holidays. It will be back the second Wednesday in January. That date is escaping me. It's either the 11th or the 12th, or whatever that Wednesday is when the next town hall meeting is. If you are not familiar with Catalyst, Town Hall, what am I even talking about? Hit up lidonation.com, search for Catalyst, and you will get at least 22 different articles talking all about it and how you can use it to get some money to fund your venture. My name is Darlington, your favorite code dreamer at Lido Nation. LidoNation.com provides blockchain education in plain English, Kiswahili, and Espanol. And if you are reading the content, every 5 days you can take a quiz that's based off of that content. And if you get it right, you can earn typically millions and millions of hash keys or some other Cardano native token. Go check it out.
You got to
And that's
scroll
your Lido
down,
Minute.
scroll down until you find it on the website.
Don't worry, we're actually doing a brand new menu, Jenny. We have so much content on there. We're gonna do a big mega menu with all the links. It's gonna come out soon.
You want me
Yes, you
to?
do have a lot, and that's great. And that means like now you have to like minimalize and then just make it easier to find because you do have a lot. It's crazy how much you have there, which is awesome.
Yeah, and look in the delegator area for the question, and it should be relatively simple. But if you need some help, DM me. I can give you a word that rhymes with the answer.
There is a link. There is a link to the article. The answer is even in the title. Do not DM Blackjack. Go learn about it. Go read the article.
Thanks for joining us on Cardano Over Coffee, and remember to join us Monday through Friday on Twitter Live.